What is good, family? Welcome back. This is your girl, Courtney Michelle. And yes, you are tuned into I Am Courtney Michelle. Definitely here to discuss a whole lot of stuff with you about what's going on. And yeah, you saw the thumbnail. So I'm going to get right into it like I usually do. Again, thank you guys for tuning in. I see you, One Community, OG Patrice, my chick. I love you. RM, always doing a damn thing. So let's get it started because I don't like to beat around the bush. I think we have a lot to discuss today. A lot of stuff that's been on my mind with seeing everything that's been going on in the media with Joe Rogan. It has been a lot. And I want to break it down. And I think a lot of stuff that I always think about or have an opinion on, sometimes it's different than what you might have heard or maybe different from your opinion. So I want to make sure that we get you guys' intake on this whole situation. So, yeah, first, what I want to do is break down the timeline of Joe Rogan. Uh, any YouTuber would tell you, any content creator would let you know that in this space, Joe Rogan is king. He's been able to say a lot of different things. Nothing usually that's politically correct, but been able to kind of say his piece and has a huge following and has been allowed to, and never really heard anything negative in the media as far as his take until recently within the past year. And I find it interesting, what we're trying to, or what maybe some are trying to cancel him with, maybe even censor him by. So, yeah, let's not just talk about it. Let's be about it. So, the Joe Rogan Experience, an amazing podcast. I've watched it. I love to hear his take on a lot of different things because it makes me think a little bit harder on situations. I believe it started back in December the 24th. So this was Christmas Eve, 2009, is when he started his podcast. And it's been going since then. Huge numbers, changed the game up as far as doing kind of deals with different platforms, i.e., Spotify, being on this particular platform as well with YouTube. So he really kind of changed the game as far as marketing and making himself a complete businessman as a content creator. So again, nothing really said a peep. A lot of stuff that he said we've discussed on here, but nothing really as big as this. But it didn't start off um, with the racial slurs that right now he's underwater with, or under fire, excuse me. It started off back last year, I believe it was around April, with the whole pandemic. He's been very, very vocal about his take on vaccinations. I believe it was last year when he specified that if you're young and healthy, there's no reason at all to get vaccinated. Once he said that, I saw the media, CNN, Fox News, ABC News, a lot of them started looking at Joe Rogan. And since he was going against the grain, not off all the ideas that he has, especially with the smoking weed and things like that, it was once this vaccine came and he had his take on it, which was different than a lot of people in the media, he started to get scrutinized. These are all facts. And then last year, he got it. He got the virus and didn't double down on what he said. As a matter of fact, he did a show about it, admitting that he contracted um, the C word. And he had like a formula of what he used about what made him get more healthy. And it wasn't the vaccine. He specified the concoctions, the stuff that he got at a local drugstore to make him feel better. And within a couple of days, he said he was disease free. And then, of course, once he said that, he got under more scrutiny. And I know Don Lemon off CNN was making fun of his remedies of what he had. And so this is what, for me, kind of started the ball rolling with Joe Rogan. It was at that point where we started kind of looking at him a little different. The media started scrutinizing a lot of his shows, but yet nothing happened. I think there was a artist, Neil Young. He made it out and said, you know what, since he's saying all this and this is harmful, I think I'm going to start pulling my music from Spotify if he's on here saying this harmful rhetoric about vaccines. There was doctors and scientists that was penning open letters to YouTube saying how harmful his rhetoric was about the vaccine and that we need to pull this because, again, it's dangerous. Joe Rogan is now dangerous. Now, mind you, he's been on here since 2009. But once this vaccine stuff started talking, and he wasn't necessarily with it and saying that if you're healthy and young, you shouldn't take it, then that's when it started to kind of, I don't know if it kind of made the media upset, or maybe they thought that he was super leftist and then was saying some stuff that seemed to be kind of conservative. If I might say so myself, then it started. But damn it, that Spotify, damn it, this YouTube did nothing. He carried on with his shows. They didn't dismiss him. They didn't pull anything from him. That's until, say, a couple weeks ago. A couple weeks ago, there was a video that surfaced. It wasn't a whole big video, but it was a montage of different clips of him saying the God forbidden word. Nigga. Yes. He said it a lot, actually, on his platform. Not all at once, but again, since 2009, mind you. He's been doing his own thing. Everything has been on YouTube. It's been on Spotify. Not a one person said a peep until the vaccine. They couldn't cancel him. Now there's this random montage from back since 2009 of him saying a word, and it was just word after word after word after word after word. And I was like, well, this is interesting. Let me show you what it was. Again, it wasn't that long, and y'all know I like to share stuff, so you bear with me. But this is what started going across the airwaves.
Saying the word. I already said is just like saying she's calling you. It's like this boy that he starts calling them bird. There should be a word like, especially like the word that's he says die, and they're saying allowed to use the word out the word. He couldn't say. Yeah, guys, there it is.
So this montage of him saying nigga, 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 beep, 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 like the Roadrunner, kept going on different platforms, and now it hit the shade room of, oh no, there's footage of Joe Rogan saying the word multiple times. And now at this very moment is where people are pulling away from him. Artists, i.e., like India Arie, which I'm going to get to a little later, decided that this was it. How dare this white man say the word nigger? He got to go. He can't say that word. He's a white man. How dare he? Mind you, no context. These are over 12 years of shows, thousands of hours, not knowing how he said it, why he said it, the context of what he said it with. We don't seem to care. We're going to pull away from him. We're going to continue to fight YouTube, Spotify, get this man off the air because this white man said nigger. Now I can understand it. I understand the word, as far as within my community, being extremely hurtful. I have personal experience being raised here in the South of that particular word. But before I get into it, I want to talk the word and the origins. The history of the word nigger is often traced to the Latin word niger, meaning black. This word became a noun in the English language and simply the color of black in Spanish and Portuguese. No matter what its origins, by the early 1800s, it was firmly established as a derogatory name. In the 21st century, it remains a principal term of white racism. Regardless of who is using it, social scientists agree that the words like, well, you guys can read it. These are all derogatory terms, disparaging nicknames, explicit group devaluations. Yeah. So, besides that, if you can see on what I've posted, the other derogatory terms that other minorities have had, the word nigger carries with it much hatred, disgust directed towards Black Africans and African Americans. Historically, nigger defined limited, made fun of, and ridiculed all Blacks. It was a term of exclusion, a verbal reason for discrimination. Whether used as a noun, verb, adjective, it's strengthened in its stereotype of lazy, stupid, dirty, worthless, nobody. No other American slur name carries as much purposeful cruelty as this word. Now, as you can see, I have a list here of back in the day and even today that we use the word in conjunction with other words to mean something. And again, being raised in the South, I hate to say it, but it's true. These are words that I have heard people say, and not even just Black folks, but I've heard white people say. Nigger lover, I've heard that before. Actually, people said that to a couple people in my family members. I'll tell you about that story. A nigger heaven, a, a designated place, usually the balcony where Blacks were forced to sit, for example, in the integrated movie theater church, nigger knock. Now, I remember saying this as a little girl, not even knowing the depths of it. It was a game that we played, going nigger knocking on people's doors, which literally means you knocking and running. Nigger rich. I think Dave Chappelle said that maybe on a skit. Nigger shooter, nigger steak, all of these terminologies, all defaming, all degrading. But these were words and terms used to slight us. So, yes, this word has weight. This word is very powerful within our community. The first time I heard the word, I'll tell you a quick story. I was 8 years old living here. Is an area called Smyrna, Tennessee. Now, with the name Smyrna, you know, it's a little rural. My cousins, I was spending the night over my cousin's house. She's younger than me. And she lived with chickens and hens. And so we good and country folks. We was walking to the corner store, I think maybe trying to get some candy. It was me and my two younger cousins. And we were walking, mind you, I was 8. And I remember walking, it was a kind of a desolate street, and a blue pickup truck with 3 white men were sitting in the truck driving next to us, screaming at us, telling us, y'all little niggers, get out of this neighborhood. You don't belong here. Go back to Africa. I'm 8. My cousin might have been 7, maybe turning 7. My little cousin might have been like 6. Like, we're all close together. But again, I'm big cousin. And they wouldn't stop following us. And so me and my cousin, we didn't understand the verity of it, and or what could have happened. All I remember is me telling her, y'all, we need to run. And we ran, and the car with the truck sped up and continued to follow us. And so we ran into kind of like this wooded area where we figured the truck wouldn't go to. And thank God they didn't. And we hid out there. I remember being out of breath, looking to make sure the truck was gone. And I think I was just so confused on why a truck with 3 adult white men would be chasing kids screaming at us, "Nigger, get out of here. You don't belong." I don't know if I was hurt. I don't remember crying, but just in a shock, like, are you serious? I remember telling my mother the story. Nothing, of course, happened. There was just a random blue truck in rural Tennessee. But I remember telling my mom that, we got chased down, her scared, telling me, "You better not ever, you will never walk them streets again." But then after that, she told me that people are going to say words to you. It might be that word again or other words, but it's you that give the power to make it hurt you. It is you that give words the power, the ability to make you feel less than. If you don't feel less than, if you don't give that word any power, then they can't use it against you. I remember my mother telling me that at a young age, and it stuck with me. If I don't have a problem with anything that you can try to say to me that makes me feel worthless or ugly or demean, you have no power over me. I always say this, and I say this to the day, that it is not what you think of me or what you can say about me. It's what I answer to and what I call myself and who I look up to. That Southern Baptist saying, if they made fun and talked about Jesus, baby, they going to make fun and talk about you. And this is true. And I live to that to this day. So now with the Joe Rogan, him saying nigger, do or does that word still hold power with me as a Black woman? Let me go. I'm going to play something else for you guys. Now, because of everything that's happened with Joe Rogan and saying the word again, we don't know the reason why he said it. It was completely taken out of context. It was a montage of a word, and the backlash that he got, the backlash that he's getting, of course, usually anyone in the media is going to force them to say or do an apology. I think that's so lame. If you're not sorry, then don't say sorry. Don't apologize. Stick by your word. But they do that. A lot of times it's PR or whatnot. But he said an apology, and I listened to it a couple times, and I understood it. So let's hear his apology. I'm not going to play it in its totality, but we can listen to a little bit.
I'm making this video to talk about the most regretful and shameful thing that I've ever had to talk about publicly. There's a video that's out that's a compilation of me saying the N-word. It's a video that's made of clips taken out of context of me of 12 years of conversations on my podcast, and it's all smushed together, and it looks fucking horrible, even to me. Now, I know that to most people, there's no context where a white person is ever allowed to say that word, never mind publicly on a podcast. And I agree with that now. I haven't said it in years, but for a long time, when I would bring that word up, like if it would come up in conversation, instead of saying the N word, I would just say the word. I thought as long as it was in context, people would understand what I was doing. Like that context was part of the clip we were talking about Red Fox, how Red Fox said that word on television in the 1970s, and how times have changed so much since then. Or about how Richard Pryor used it as one of the titles of one of his albums. Or I was quoting a Lenny Bruce bit, or I was quoting a Paul Mooney bit, or I was talking about how Quentin Tarantino used it repeatedly in Pulp Fiction, or I was talking about how a Netflix executive, ironically, used it because he was trying to compare it to another offensive word, and he said it out loud, and they fired him. not calling anybody or just saying the word out loud. I was also talking about how there's not another word like it in the entire English language, because it's a word where only one group of people is allowed to use it, and they can use it in so many different ways. Like if a white person says that word, it's racist and toxic, but a black person can use it, and it could be a punchline, it could be a term of endearment, it could be lyrics to a rap song, it could be a positive affirmation. It's a very unusual word, but it's not my word to use. I'm well aware of that now, but for years I used it in that manner. I never used it to be racist, because I'm not racist, but whenever you're in a situation where you have to say, I'm not racist, you fucked up. And
Joe Rogan is a comedian, which I think adds another context to it. Comedians, I feel, should not be censored. It is their art to have controversy, to have things that we can't say, but they're able to say it and yet evoke something in us to laugh. That's the art of being a comedian, is to take hurtful, harmful situations and make it into something that makes us comfortable. Now, I've watched his platform before. I've never heard him say the word as far as the shows that I have heard. So I can't necessarily say how I would feel if me listening to it in real time. But what I do know is that this word has such an effect on us to this day. To this day. I had to do it, I'm sorry. And my question is why? Why are we still using or having this word affect us so much? Are we supposed to police everyone that says it? Are we the only ones that are able to say the word? So if a white man says the word nigger, we cancel him because he said it, not giving it its context, not saying that he's repeating something from Paul Mooney. But if he even says the word, he gotta go.